Welcome everyone. It is Friday, November 18th, 2022. Yesterday we finished Barbara. I might do some adjustments to the piece, but it's gonna take a while to load the file. But yeah, it's pretty much done. Hello people. I've seen you in the chat. You're here early. Maybe the gamer alert um, did its job. But yeah, the piece is not gonna be too different from this. I think it's good. Uh, the biggest thing to take from this whole piece is that I should not use the 3D models from CSP to alter the camera. I should build the shape without that that crutch, because I obviously don't know how to use it, so the legs come out a little bit wonky. But overall, the entire piece looks pretty cool. Right, instead of making like concrete background, an abstract approach is more interesting. Let me just get rid of this one. So for the past, I want to say hour and a half, I've been collecting references for Diluc. Diluc is a claymore user, which is the fancy way of saying a very big sword. So I think this is like a signature sword from him, and this is like an alternative suit that he has. I recently found Zweihänder. Yeah, I mean, almost. It is two-handed, but I don't know if it classifies as one. Hello, Eletao. Everyone is here early. Goddamn. Like 2 minutes of stream and so many people already. So yeah, for references, I brought these old ones of shirts. The hair one, I like it. It's just, I think with enough practice, I'll get better at it. There's some poses that I thought were interesting, right? Either finished pieces or just like thumbnails that I thought were interesting to analyze. We're gonna spend today figuring out the pose. This is the best weapon that he can use, which is prototype Aminus, which is really cool. This is the ascended form. It has like a better pattern on the blade and on the handle. Gold reference for, certain metallic parts and things like that. Like here. I'm probably gonna be lazy with the chains, but yeah. And this, because I want to give like the vision that he carries a little bit more love, even though in the suit there is no vision described, so I might have to like get reference for that later. But yeah, I dare you to pluck out a bunch of compositions. Entire compositions or just poses? Because compositions is hard. Just grayscale. Poses and compositions. Damn. Damn. Alright, wait a second. Posing scene. Okay, block out. Let me just think of something here. Do I want it square? Probably not. I'll probably want it vertical. So let me just Canvas properties. This is really big. I think I figured out why it was crashing so much, because I was using actually, this is not the proper canvas properties. I think the reason why the program was crashing so much was because I was always working on a 4K by 4K canvas, which is kind of overkill with 300 dpi, and I was making like a lot of layers, and in some cases I was even recording the time lapse, so like I wouldn't be surprised if the files were ginormous. Let me see. File Explorer. I mean, Kaya was already... Where did I say? Oh, there it is. Kaya. Yeah, the Kaya file has more than 1 gigabyte of size. So yeah, it's a pretty fucking big file. Yeah, that's what happens when you record time lapse. Like, the program has to record every single thing that you do. Like, erasing also counts as an action, right? Only if you control Z does it remove from the time lapse. Okay, we start with very little opacity, and then we can work our way out to black. So at least this is the way that I kind of enjoy it. Create a similar brittle, save every frame to a folder. Every frame? Like, it saves every action, pretty much. Like, takes a snapshot of every action. A frame every second of editing time. I mean, I'm sure that CSP also does that. I just don't know where it saves. Because, like, when you want to see the time lapse, it starts compiling everything into a GIF format. Okay, now I need, let me just get some helpers so that I know more or less where I'm going with this. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna use it, but it's always good to have this. Okay, just to mark it out. Okay. What if the sword... So it's not going to be landscape because I'm also already taking into consideration how Diluc is. He's hot-headed. That's the thing that I've noticed about Genshin characters. Everyone that is a pyro user has some form of aggressiveness in their behavior, right? So like Amber is very I wouldn't say explosive. It's extroverts. She's a bit impulsive as well, right? That kind of behavior that is a strong behavior, right? And pyro users really tend to have that. Diluc is like, he is a bit of a bit like Kaya actually, where he doesn't look at the means to reach certain ends. Right now in the game, I'm in a part where we're facing the Fatui, and the knights are bound by diplomatic rules to not go into direct confrontation. But Diluc is not part of the knights, and he wants to just go in and just start kicking the shit out of everyone. So yeah. And but the thing is, like, I don't know if he's an aristocrat, but he does come out as such, like owns a tavern and his own wine production thingy. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Where was I going? And like, despite being very aggressive, he still kind of behaves like a proper gentleman in downtime, right? Oh, it's gonna be complicated. I think it's better if I use this the lasso tool, because I'm like very tempted to I like this one. Yeah, I'm always very used to drawing, so like it's impulsive to me. Let me see. Do I want that? Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, interest. Point of interest right in the crotch. Yes. My dude, it's either gesture or blocks. It's one or the other. Cause like, if I do gesture, I'm gonna do lines. I'm trying to think. Would the torso be like this? But then it looks like this is the back. Like, it looks like this is the back. Like that. Right. There's an extra line there. So it'd be something like this. which doesn't make sense. But what if this is the front? I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't... I don't know. Something about that type of pose that... Weird angle fence facing away though. Yeah, that's why I don't use blocks. Because, like, I prefer gesture. Because gesture communicates better. I mean... Blocks is kind of hard because you first, like, do random stuff and then you try to see what you come up with. So, like... I'm not used to... blocks and... Sure. But it's gonna be hard. But still, I wanna... It kind of defeats the purpose of having poses then. For fuck's sake. Like, it's kind of useless having poses. If I'm using blocks. Because if I have the pose, I can just draw. You know? Like with the pose, you would have the body, right? And you immediately knew how to do it. Right? Like immediately. But if it's with blocks, you can't do this. Yeah, but that seems like extra steps. It's like big brush. It's less than 10 strokes compared to 40 lines. My problem is, like, I'm not even using Frizz's pressure or anything. Because I'm not even visualizing a pose. That's the thing. It's like... No, don't worry about it. I mean, it's day one. But, like... Because to me, this takes more work. I can't even go back. God damn it. Because, I definitely practiced a lot of this, but... when I was in college, but... it was only because I was forced to. Because, like, I usually do a mix of both techniques, which is scratch the drawing. Oh, actually, it needs to be on this side. Scratch the drawing a lot, and then you just want 3 values, no opacity. There's way too much going on in the barber piece. Really? I don't think so. Like, there's a lot of colors, but I don't think there's a lot going on. Like, you have the artifact, you have the character, and you have a little thing here. The rest is just colors. To me, the colors are completely flat. Like, this is completely flat to me. Literally does not matter. I filter everything completely. It's almost like this piece right here, right? In this piece, I see it as... Where is it? I see this piece like this. Right? Everything outside of this shape doesn't matter. Yeah, but the thing is, you can't make it darker with Barbara. It would. I don't think it would work with the character that she is. I mean, to a certain extent, I think. Saturation. Like, these parts of the fire are lighter, pretty much. But it's like, this is already a very dark tone. And there are dark tones everywhere. Like, the face is lighter. Because they tend to do, like, really light faces. But almost the entire body is super dark as well. It's like these almost black accents that kind of interrupt the values very abruptly. That kind of give it shape. The hair has pretty much the same gradients as the fire. So. Yeah, probably. It's like you have... I made the skirts like darker. Because like the dress is almost white. I even made it a little bit darker than usual, right? There's a little bit of darkness here. The artifact is very bright because it needs to shine because of the magic. I can't make the skin super dark, you know? It's weird. Yeah. Like, in terms of brightness, the background is pretty close to being black. Ugh. I noticed the checkerboarding. I think that's already too detailed of an analysis. what are your ideas for what Diluc should be doing in this scene? That's the problem. I still need to brainstorm it. Like if I knew, I would get specific references for it. The problem is I don't know yet. Right? Like how am I going to block things that I don't know yet? It's the problem. Blocking works when you already have your image in your mind. You put stuff down and it looks like it. No, that twist was really weird. Like a twist like this on the body. In terms of sword handling, it's really weird. Like with a twist like this, what are you gonna do? You're gonna even if it's like reaching out is like what arms like the arm even needed to be like that, I guess, right? And by the way, that arm is in front of the torso, so the torso is in front of it. So yeah, anterior position, right? And if it's doing that, like you need the leg to go over there. It's like right. Need to be something like this. So the armor would need to go even lower. The sword needs to go higher so they meet. Right. And big ass sword. Like to me, that is not a good pose. Like I can construct it, doesn't mean I should do it. That's the biggest issue, I guess. Which is what I tend to do is what I said when I meant when I said I do like a mix of both. It's like I come here and clean up to have sort of like this, you know? Because I view the line as like a smaller shape. Can you change anything about it to make it better? Not really. Isn't this too much detail? I'm constructing the pose first because what I tend to do is kind of like join poses. Like I've done that before. Yeah. That way I don't have to like worry with what works and what doesn't. so much at least. I don't think this is like too much detail. Swiss body construction. Like, what do you mean by joint poses? Mixed aspects of different. Yeah. For instance, imagine I like this angle right here, right? And it kind of helps me if I observe this pose, it kind of helps me. I like the way this one has the sword over their shoulder, so I kind of also picked up this pose because it's dual wielding, and Diluc also dual wields. These thumbnails are also interesting. For instance, like you have thumbnails like this. I cannot do this because I cannot see the anatomy in my mind yet. I need to draw it. If I don't draw it, I cannot see it. So learn to do it. Yeah, on stream. Tough break. I mean, I could do 100 episodes of learning how to block anatomy, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't watch it. You know, you can just be good enough. The problem is, can be a stick man. Not for me. It needs to communicate three-dimensionality already. This does. See? Like, this communicates everything. Like, communicates everything. Because this is made by someone who understands. I don't, therefore, it doesn't communicate anything. Like, since the knee is further ahead, it would be like that. Like, off balance, because it's super heavy over here. Right? Needs to enlarge the base. Because the sword is super heavy. Right? So like you need strength here to handle the sword. And it's not arrogance. If you can do it, that's incredible, you know? But I can't. And I don't like to pretend that I can. That's just it. Like, you have some practice. Yeah, but like with the amount of things that I already have to practice, it's like yeah, I've practiced this for years to get to this bare bones level. Imagine years. And it is what it is. Like, it takes a lot of practice for me to actually understand things. We're gonna put it inside. Now, obviously I'm not gonna use this one completely because this is landscape. Hey, yo, what the fuck? The first time this ever happened. Did I lose the sketch? Can you do that in your head? Hell no. I lost part of it. Oh. Yeah, this is fine. I cannot do these things in my head because there's like a lot of different stuff that I need to deconstruct in my mind, and so yeah, that's not happening. It requires a level of practice that I don't know. If I remember correctly, something along these lines. Yeah, whatever. You know, some people can do it. I can't. I never could, honestly. Like, I always need to construct things, like, imagine the sorrow head, for instance. Like, I need very heavy construction in order to be able to do it. And even then, like, I don't remember everything of it anymore. I don't remember fully how to do it, so this is not gonna come out exactly as intended. But like, I don't know, man. I just know that I practice. Like, I practice a lot, and I don't know. I try to pay attention to things, but I get the feeling that I improve a lot slower than most people. So I always need to practice a little bit more than most people. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of times that I had to repeat this whole process just to get the steps in my mind. But I don't see this in my mind. I'm seeing it now because I'm building it. You know? It's more like where did the initial angle come from? The sphere. Basically, if you look from the front, you do a perfect circle. If you start with an ellipse, you're already accepting some angle. I just made a decision. Like, you either do a circle to draw from the front or the back, or you do an ellipse to join 3/4 or the side. I do 3/4 because it's what contains the most information, I guess. I mean, there's always some level of decision, right? I'm not a photocopy machine. But it's like, it's almost like a recipe. You know? Because, like, I only have, like, 2 modes of doing things. Either I go balls to the walls, and in that case, like, complex subjects like anatomy don't work. Or I go very methodic. Indeed. Indeed, balls. Right. Goes like that. Goes like that. What do you think? Yeah, no. This isn't for me. Yeah, I'm watching it. Oh no, they have anatomy wrong at the beginning. The thing is, my problem is not having the right anatomy within the gesture or the block-in, I mean. My problem is they can see a body with the block-in, a body that works. I can't, right? Because this is a thing that they already figure out, is that even with all of the freedom that the block-in gives you, there are certain things that you cannot do with a block-in to make a body. Right? Which feels weird because it's super abstract, but there are certain approaches that you cannot take. Like exactly what I did. It generated a torso. You generated a or I generated a torso that does not work with what I wanted. Because that is good when you want to come up with a theme. The problem is I already have a theme. So I don't need to come up with block-ins. You're figuring out what doesn't work for free. I guess, but I don't need to. You know what I mean? I just think this torso over here is a bit too much. It's like there are things that helps, sure, but I don't need to. Like you had in the video that you showed me, right? You have a pose where we're looking from below. We have a pose like that's very dynamic. Obviously, the artist is still trying to figure out the theme of the composition. But here, I just want a pose where he's standing with his sword, right? there's no way that making a block that looks like a twisted torso is gonna make that work. Because when you're standing, you don't have your torso twisted, right? That's a completely different thing. That's why it wasn't working. Because there's so much freedom that you're never gonna go into a standing pose. Might as well be drawing the pose itself. Like if I was trying to figure out the mood, sure, I guess that would work. You can only twist your torso while sitting. Huh? You can only twist your torso while sitting. I wouldn't say he was sitting. I said that the pose that I want for him is one of standing. Like, you see this pose, right? Standing. Very little twist. Standing. Very little twist. It's this sort of stuff, right? It's not like super twisted, or even more so with the other one. Because the other one had, so if we accept this as the pelvis, right? The other one had the pelvis facing like this. And then you had a twist like this, right? And the torso going like that. Not only would you have like a change of axle, which technically speaking there never are, but like a very sudden change backwards, but it would also be something like this, right? Yeah, I said this guy has a twisting torso. The problem is, what I'm interested in is this part right here. I am not saying it's an impossible twist. I'm just saying that it doesn't work with a calm pose like this. The twists are very energetic. Like, what I'm interested in this pose is this part right here. I'm not that interested in this or this transition here. I just want like static ways, stances, right? Like, this doesn't even have that much of a twist, right? It just has a little bit so that he can grab the sword like this. Yes, it needs to be a calm pose, right? That's what I'm going for. Because I can. Not everything has to be like super twisty and dynamic. You know? I don't know. It's just... Yeah, but I've said like several times already, like if I wanted something more dynamic, the block-in is not a bad strategy. But the thing is, right from the start, I didn't want something dynamic, you know? Because Diluc is not like that, right? And this is already part of like the whole character thing. I'm not coming up with a design, so I don't need to reinvent the wheel here. No need to like rediscover Diluc. He already exists. Chris, I like this pose a lot, but I think it's like too cocky for him. I must have misheard at the start. I didn't think he was calm. Like, I said that pyro users have some sort of uh not extra. For Amber is extroverted, but Diluc has uh complicated behavior, right? But I didn't say he was explosive. That's the thing. Like, he's an aristocrat, right? Like, it's kind of hard to be an explosive aristocrat without being a villain. I... They push it a lot, so it kind of works, I guess. No, Diluc is it's like one of the characters that you see first in the game. I said, like, he isn't a knight, but he has, like, he fights pretty much the same things that the knights fight. It's just that he doesn't look at the means to doing so, right? It's pretty much that. Like, more of a loose cannon, if anything. But he isn't a villain. In fact, I'm playing a mission right now where we're, like, supposed to cure a dragon, and we need to do it, like, incognito. Not incognito, like, we need to do it stealthily, and he's helping us. Loose cannon. I mean, I hope it means what I think it means. But, like... Sounds very explosive. Short-tempered. Oh, then no. No, that's not him. Then I retract the loose cannon part. That's not what I mean. Because, like, his attitude is very predictable, right? And he is very how can I explain this? Like, he calculates his moves, right? It's just that his methodology isn't diplomatic. Like, if he sees a bothersome diplomatic way of dealing with things, and he sees another way where he can just fight, he will fight. You know? But I'm also describing it like this because the situation with the Genshin story is kind of complicated. There's, like, this faction that insists in dealing with things in a diplomatic way, but they don't deserve diplomacy. That's why Diluc is the way that he is. It's like maybe tunnel visions. Maybe it's like, I think this part of the story is well written because it's like none of both ways are wrong to go about it. Because, like, the villains are the Fatui, right? And Diluc wants to kick Fatui's ass because, you know, they're objectively in the wrong, at least so far. Unless they give me more information, you know. And the knights want to, like, treat it as a diplomatic discussion, debate, whatever. complicated. Yeah, like this type of pose only works for swords that are light. If the sword is heavy, you're not gonna do this. So I'm already taking like a lot of things into consideration. Should have done in different layers, whatever. Yeah. You're not the first one that says that I have more abilities than I think I have. Problem is, when those abilities get put to the test, they always fail. I think people just overestimate. Because that's the thing, right? It's very easy to like say that someone is underestimating themselves, but it's really hard to realize if you're actually overestimating someone. Right? Like with each piece I'm trying to make effort to improve. Because I know I'm lacking a lot of stuff. It's like I only see people explaining how they do things, and you know, I've tried a million different things and most of it doesn't make any sense to me. Like it's a really slow cumulative process for me. Like the other day I was very proud of the hand. I'm probably speaking from ignorance. I recently started realizing all the things I don't know and I'm lacking in. I wouldn't say ignorance, just maybe impulsiveness. Because, like, I've gone to the depths of drawing, right? Like, when I was younger, I was amazed by what some industry professionals do. And now that I know more, I think I'm even more amazed. Because now that I look at their work, I know what I don't know. Right? That whole Dunning-Kruger thing where like we start up here thinking we know shit and then we go like this. And like I'm pretty much here at this point. There's some ability to it, but my perception is like really low. Right? And especially for artists, like this part right here is grueling. It's really, really tough. I think it's more to focus on the next step to get towards that level. Oh, what do you want to do? Yeah, it's complicated. I mean, yeah. No, I have to like take important decisions in the near future because I'm still like very how can I say this? I'm still multitasking when it comes to art. Like I'm trying to learn bits of animation, bits of illustration, and things like that. And that just makes me juggle my time a lot. And so I don't improve in anything specifically. But I also need like solid drawing. Right? That's why I invested so much in anatomy. It's because I needed solid drawing in anatomy to animate people. And I'm still like nowhere near what I need. Knowing what you don't know is the first step to improve. Yeah. I think my biggest improvements have come from pushing myself to try things that appear difficult. Maybe. Problem is like I'm reaching a point where the things that I find difficult, most of them are not like explained step by step. You know, you look at the things that are like really difficult and you don't even know where to start. So the end result is nowhere similar to what you saw. That's the problem. Not only that's like I find a lot of things fascinating and I have a hard time deciding where to go. I don't like that twist. I like this pose, but I wish it was a little less cocky. The problem is like the way that back goes works. At the same time, I watch and read more art tutorials in theory than I practice. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. But now it's like um, I I find tutorials, right, and I stash them in the watch later thing on YouTube, and you know, eventually I'll get to them, but it's like one thing at a time. But yeah, I'm not gonna watch them anytime soon. But like I like to use that because instead of making playlists, I just put watch later, because I watch tutorials several times to digest the information and to remind myself. I like this angle more, I think. I like this more. I think it looks better. Right? And then like hand on see, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. It's like bring one pose and work with another. This is what I do with references. Because my ideas are being formed while I'm gathering references. I don't have a visual library, pretty much. So I need to make a makeshift one in the reference folder. Please tell me. Okay. I don't know what happened when the folder closed, because the computer didn't went down, but CSP did. Huh. Yeah, this is what I do to like practice anatomy, is mixing poses, because then you're forced to see how it works. Save as Diluc. This is gonna be fun because the time lapse is gonna show everything. Well, it's saved in caps, so Diluc. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. But I like the sword being, because like even though it's a claymore, it's sort of thin claymore compared to others in the game. I like this one. Would it be something like this, maybe? Maybe. I have a great idea. Just because I'm lazy. Because I want to see exactly how it relates. There's no copy layer function. Right, we're gonna cancel. We're gonna like that. Because the blade will not sit on the shoulder, obviously. It needs to be something like this. Okay. The streamer avoided my question. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've used 2x speed and rewatch things occasionally. Yeah, I do that too. I do that too. Like whenever I'm rewatching a tutorial, I do that. So what aspect of your process do you think you could use the most improvement? Good question. It's like, because I'm interested in animation, right? I think just the overall quality and the speed at which you do it is the important part, right? Like learning to work as a team and the layout, not the layout, like the pipeline and things like that, they all change from studio to studio, so it kind of depends, and you learn part of it on the job. But like drawing needs to be up there, and I don't have that. Craftsmanship, yep. Craftsmanship. I like this pose. Maybe the legs are a bit too far apart, no? I can fix that. It's definitely this. Okay, with that. Also, this is another thing, like I'm not hesitant in completely erasing my work. I'm not satisfied with it. These drawings are completely temporary. I've drawn circles so many times just to improve you know, medium control. It's ridiculous how many times I've done that. Fuck. Do I go with this? See, this is the thing that I'm talking about. I am much more comfortable looking at a piece like this, right, than looking at something like this, right? Like incredibly rendered, you know, really cool designs, things like that. I cannot unsee that this guy is wearing an armor, right? As you can see, like, the armor goes forward, which means his chest is, like, somewhere here. His neck is here. Right? It's just that it has so much icing on top of it that you can't see the cake, pretty much. Because, like, his spine is doing this, right? Even with the accentuated angle, it does not make sense. Right? And it's, like, incredible the amount of pieces that do that. Like, this is uncomfortable, right? It's like, you have this, right? And from here, right, because the leg is pretty much sideways, you can tell that the pelvis is somewhere around here. The back is even further than that. Right? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's completely off balance. The base of the body is completely off. This body would fall, especially with the sword like this. Because, like, there's almost no weight on this side. All of the weight is on this side. This body would fall. Ah, yes, very strong. He ignores the laws of physics. Big muscles, right? Like, I like this pose because it communicates really well just how heavy this sword is, right? Like, he needs this and putting his body to the front, right? Just to counteract such a small object. Small in terms of width and things in volume, right? That really communicates how heavy the sword here is. In here, the sword like appears to be made out of styrofoam. Like this one, right? You have this, but the body's like closer to here because the sword is heavy. Right? In here, this leg gets all of the weight because the sword is here, right? Magic weightless sword. What other guy? Diluc. Or this one. Because I really like he deactivates the weightlessness. Yeah. Because I really like this sort of pose where they're grabbing a sword like this. The big guy with the leaning back. Oh yeah. Like, no weight. It's just no weight. His magic power is deactivating gravity, pretty much. Right? It's cool. It's like, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it reminds me of a skin that came out for League of Legends. I'm gonna show you this. Look. Prestige Arcade Caitlyn. Do you see anything wrong with it? I'm gonna copy this to CSP. What is okay? Do you see the problem? Right? And this was made by industry professionals, by the way. I wouldn't worry too much about the perspective. See, you didn't even notice it. Look at this. Rib cage. Neck. Right? The rib cage isn't even like that, because if you have like breasts like this, right? It's already making it hard. The neck can bend forward. Yeah, if you have a neck like this. If you have a neck like that, yeah, sure. Right? Because in here comes the cervical, right? The cervical vertebrae. Because, like, for her to have this pose, her face would be something like this. And then it would do this, and then the neck would need to do like this. In order to do something like that. In order to the neck to go like that. And that would mean that the neck would be doing this. Right? I think they fixed it later, but when I search for this skin, I think the wrong version appears always. So, but yeah, you can see it. Like, this is the front, right? So the back would be like this. Or bury it like that, right? You would have the back going like that. It needs like to go around and connect. It's like there's just no fucking way it was gonna do that. There's a problem of length around here because the seventh cervical, when the rib cage ends, which would be somewhere around here, right? Which is not, because as you can see, there's no, in the very limit, the rib cage could be here, right? In the very limit. So by that time, like, there's just no way of doing this. It would be around here. Pretty much, yeah. What they ended up doing was, I think they adjusted the gun, and they pulled the gun a little bit like this so that the face could go like that, and then just fixed it over here, the space that they left. And that's pretty much it. But you can see, like, even industry professionals can make mistakes like that. But there was a lot of backlash because of it, because it looked really weird. In Champ Select, you see champions' faces, right? So that problem was like front and center at the beginning of each game. I think I like this. That was not my message. My message was even professionals can make mistakes. I didn't say they suck. A little bit of miscommunication there. the thing is, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? You think he didn't notice because he spent 60 hours there, but it's like he probably didn't notice because he spent 60 hours in it. Yeah, yeah. It's really easy to get used to mistakes in your own artwork. Oh yeah, you don't do, at least in Riot games, you usually don't do splash arts alone, right? But the problem is, even a group of people, if they get used to an image, they don't see any problem with it. It feels like he just readjusted the head on the head by moving it and went too far. This looks like it's supposed to be her looking down the side. Yeah. But then they fixed it, so it's okay. Focus. Yeah. Trying to see if the head is a tad bit too long. See, this is more where I carve shapes. Not so much with huge blocks, but with a lot of lines. And I treat the line as if it was my block. It's like that movie Surf's Up. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like the surfboard is somewhere inside the tree, and you gotta get it out. The perfect line is inside of that mess, and you gotta get it out. That's kind of how I see it. Some people are like, oh, don't do scratchy lines and things like that. And I understand what you're trying to say, but at the same time, you know. I think scratchy lines matter for construction. Yeah, I guess. Hmm. The ribcage is way too big. Or better yet, the head is way too small. Could this work? I don't know if it could. Easiest. Deltoid. This is another thing. Like, very obsessed with understanding how structure moves. Like it's useful for animation, but overall, I think I'm just interested in that. Now I don't remember. I think it was brachioradialis first. Yeah, I think it's brachioradialis first. Slightly flexed. Goes to the thumb. Okay. And then there's like a bunch of minor muscles. And triceps, which gives space here for the elbow. I'm surprised you're doing illustrations if you're interested in animation. Yeah. Yeah. My problem is the type of thing that I want to learn. There's not a lot of good resources out there. Like the ones that I find, the best ones that I found at least were in Japanese. It's like, bro. Only recently I've started to find better resources in English, but it's very jarring. Okay, like, so as you can see in my mind, if it doesn't make sense, I won't let it go. Right? Like if the muscles don't make sense. For instance, the thing that I know that I don't know, which is interesting. I still don't know how to draw the pec from this perspective, right? So I treat it like a slab over the rib cage, but I know it's not exactly like that. There's something different about it, but the Japanese studios hire people from overseas. They do. And nowadays, it's easier to like get hired without knowing Japanese. but it's a double. No, no, no. You don't need to know Japanese. There are some companies that hire foreigners that don't know Japanese. The thing is, it's kind of like you need to be careful because, especially when it comes to first impressions, if you make a bad first impression, uh, it can become complicated. Let's just say that, right? And yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, then just don't make a bad first impression. Yeah, it's really easy to fumble it. So it's not necessarily blacklisted. It's just that word carries around, you know? It's not every single studio, but I can guarantee that you don't want to work for most studios. Like the beginning of it is grueling, to say the least. For instance, when it comes to the legs, I noticed this the other day when looking at mine. So take like this, take like this. There's muscles there, which I do not know what they do, but there are muscles there. Okay, the pecs need to be bigger, but still, I think there's a discrepancy here. I think currently one of the best animators out there in Japan, like he's not Japanese. I think he has a French name, but I don't know if he's like French or Canadian or something. But he's really good. But now, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name. Yeah. We have the sartorius muscle, which is just the rotation thingy, connects to the side, which gives us that bump. Jean-Michel. Let me see. Okay, he's probably French because it says he graduated from Gobelin, which is a very famous animation school in France. And his description on Twitter is I do le animation and le storyboard do. So he's probably French. So the pronunciation should be Vincent Chansard. But he puts it reversed because he works on the Japanese. But he's really good. He's been working on One Piece. Like, he does quality stuff. Right? What's the worst work a studio could give you? Um, it's a combination of conditions, but pretty much like last minute. I would say the worst would be last minute, but this would require a lot of responsibility. Last minute keyframes, because keyframing takes a lot of time and experience. But I would say like to an inexperienced artist, last minute in betweening, which is like in betweening is entry level and it already requires a lot of expertise. Like you can't just willy-nilly in between things, you know? Things move with a specific arc. All of them. I think it would be like last minute in betweening, because it would probably require you to pull all-nighters. Where did you look for animation jobs? Good question. Good question. I used to have a list of websites in for companies in Japan that hire foreigners. But like I said, I was more interested first in doing personal projects to practice and fuck. I'm drawing a blank here. God damn it. I want to speedrun getting blacklist. Well, no. Like, I talked about this the other day. Like, that one guy that participated in the making of Boruto. And people were saying that his work just ended up giving the production even more work to clean up. Right? Like, he deleted his Twitter account. Or their Twitter account. Just because they didn't want to be associated with that name. So, like, you can see. You can definitely see it. I don't know. Nah, forget about it. They're not gonna do that. Like you mentioned that you have a job, right? I don't know if you've ever, if you at least you recently uh, looked for a job, but like nobody puts realistic requirements onto the job. You know, people just throw themselves at jobs that, according to the descriptions, they wouldn't be able to do. Yeah, but like for artists or for art jobs, it's different because you don't you don't need to be asked questions, right? It's like you show your portfolio. If your work is good enough, they will come to you one way or another, right? Artists work through portfolio. That's it. You show your portfolio. If they nod, it's good. Pretty much, yeah. There's only one place that I know of that can take care of first timers, which is World Anime Networks. I think it's in the Philippines, and it's like as long as you understand anatomy fully, you can draw anybody in any pose in any angle, right? That's the requirement to enter. You can do that. They will teach you everything, right? They will teach you animation, they will teach you in betweening, they will teach you the pipeline of everything that they do, even though they're like more focused on second keyframes, cleanup, and things like that. But they teach you everything, right? But other than World Anime Networks, there's like nothing. They don't have a website. Who? World Anime Networks? I knew about them through YouTube. I'm sure you can like email them and things like that. I don't know if they have a website or not. But yeah. Because like if you're working directly for Japanese studios and not the outsourced studios, you're working in the part of the pipeline that is coming up with the ideas, right? It's coming up with the poses and everything like that. If you work for the outsourced studio, it's pretty much, not to insult anyone, but it's cookie cutter work where you have the timesheet and you follow the timesheet unless there's like any corrections needed to be made, things like that. So you're using your skills to in between, obviously, right? And that takes skill, but you're not coming up with the piece itself. It's like me saying to another artist, right? You have the sketch. I want the light to be like this, render. And you would have an artist take this light into consideration and render it. They say they have strict screening. Ooh, World Anime Networks. You do go through an interview. Like, you have to show your portfolio with anatomy. Right? That's like the thing. Also, if you come from outside of the Philippines, like you have to pay for your trip there. And it's not remote, it's in-site or on-site. So yeah. There was a course that I saw, I think it was on CG Spectrum. I don't know if that course still exists, but it was about anime specifically, and I think when I saw the price, it was like it cost the eyes off of my face. So that was fun. World Anime Networks, yeah, they are pretty official. Like, they even do their new hires. Yeah, yeah. And that's like baseline. Okay? That is baseline worker in anime. That is cleanup. That is at most second keyframes, right? Anime studios in Japan are not, or at least most of them, are not worrying about in-betweening or anything like that. They do the drawings that they need to do to tell the story. Other outsourced studios take care of everything else. Yeah. But there are even crazier things. Like you have Kyoto Animation. They're in-betweeners, and the cleanup, I think everything really is inside of their studios. They have like two studios, I think. But I think Kyoto Animation like does the entire pipeline within their studios. And if you look at like recent works, you will see the difference between Kyoto Animation and everyone else, really. And when I say quality, I mean like compositing and everything is just ridiculous. I think the only thing that they don't do is write the stories, because I think they do like a contest to for people to participate in, right, and to put their stories on, and it's like sometimes imagine this, right? You could win. Okay, this is weird to explain. I need a visual aid here. Okay, so imagine, right? You have the first place, right? And imagine you have a bunch of entries. Just because they all compete doesn't mean that anyone can get first place. There is a minimum of quality to get first place, and I think until today there was only one work that got first place in a contest, and there have been several contests. It's really weird, right? I think it was Violet Evergarden's script got first place, and got like an anime adaptation, obviously, and then Netflix bought the adaptation to publish it on their website. Um, but like, yeah, there's a threshold to reach the first place. If it's not good enough, if the committee doesn't think it's good enough, you won't get first place in that contest, which is usually what happens. Yes, like it's pretty ridiculous the way everything works, really. And it's really frightening because it takes a lot of effort to even get in the industry, right? Let alone steadily work on project after project. Not to mention that I think a new law passed in Japan where freelance animators are going to start costing more to the studios. So it's going to be even more complicated for studios to hire outsiders. Yeah. Problem is, it's not so fun when you know, someone from the outside wants to actually participate in it, and they end up costing more to the studio. So the studio just opts to hire people from the country, and still nobody is able to make a living out of it. Do you Do you Industrial Light and Magic? Industrial Light and Magic. What is that? Industrial Light and Magic. I mean, my multimedia course was pretty much that. I think they're one of the most prestigious VFX studios since the 80s. I mean, probably. It's just that I don't know the names of VFX studios by heart. That's not the area that I'm interested in. But it's like, my multimedia course is pretty much industrial light, you know, what they're talking about in their website. They're hiring an animator. Yeah, if they're a prestigious VFX studio, they're not going to hire someone that can barely do a bouncing ball. Right? This is the thing that I'm talking about. It's like everyone is... I talk about animation and a lot of people go like, "Oh, you should try and get a job." It's like that doesn't work like that. You know? Yeah. The problem with animation is that even to be an intern, you already need some level of skill. So you also have that problem. You can draw, yeah. So can everyone else that is applying for the internship. You're already competing to get the internship. So yeah, it's like a sobering realization that I am really at the bottom whenever I look at that. Like especially my friends, they think I'm too pessimistic about this sort of stuff. And I just go, if I was a company that wanted to have like an animator or something, I would not hire myself in the state that I'm at right now. Simply put. Yeah. Tough times ahead of me. Very tough times. Even with the recession and everything, it's like culture is gonna suffer more than ever before. You know. Like I wouldn't mind having a part-time job while I like an illustrator or something. You know, if I could make some money with my arts. But I'm like years too early to think about that. So just don't know what I can do. Yeah. I think I'm gonna stick with this pose overall. Yeah. Oh. But I think I'm gonna end up in the stream a little bit earlier today. Yeah. Um, yeah. The problem is starting. Starting is always like hard, which is ironic because drawing the body and anatomy I really enjoy, but it's always a struggle because it's the most important part. So I'm very critical when I start, and as I go along, I start to like loosen up. But when I start, it's like super critical, you know. And again, I'm a bit afraid because of what happened with Barbara. You know? Like, that pose just did not work. I don't know. What I'm thinking is maybe I will zoom in on Diluc and not worry so much about the weapon. Like, the leg's super weird, right? So I'm considering that, and like maybe the whole composition will be like more like this, but then it's a bit weird, but we can see what we can do. Right, something like that. I just don't like how it cuts. I like the idea of the composition explosion to begin with. It has a lot of freedom. Yeah. It's just you usually have more freedom when you start with a blank slate. The problem is this character already has a personality. I already picked a specific outfit, a specific weapon, right? It's like the liberty that it has here is just a little bit of the pose, and that's it, right? Like, this pose right here already feels like too much for Diluc, right? That's why in his official art, he is contained. Here, he is contained because that's who he is, right? On exploring the environment. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't feel that pumped. Like, with Barber, I completely gave up on the environment, just went full abstract. I don't know. But yeah. Also, let me just check. Today's prompt. Yesterday's prompt was in battle together. Today is 18th, right? Yeah. So abilities weapon swap. I might have to like reconsider this couple, but sure. Sure. Abilities and weapon swap. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave the stream here for today, and I want to thank everyone that joined me live, and everyone that might be watching this on the VOS channel. It has been growing rather nicely, actually, which is very surprising for a VOS channel. That's it. Wow, that's you! Wow! But yeah, so I don't stream on the weekends. Next stream will be on the 21st. If maths still works the same way. What's wrong, people? Like, Monday I'll be back. Damn, quick maths. But I think it's going in a good direction. It might not be such an explosive um, piece, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So, thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back on Monday, and I hope you have a great weekend. Goodbye.